Good news, 49er fans. John Lynch is trying to make a trade. Good morning. Welcome to the 49ers Playbook. That's former Raiders offensive coordinator Tom Walsh. I'm Grant Cohn. John Lynch spoke today on the radio. We're going to talk about a few pieces of news that he revealed, and we're going to help Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh keep winning because they recently mentioned off the record, well, they didn't, I don't know, maybe they didn't, but we're pretty much responsible for these last few wins. We let them down against Jacksonville, but no one's perfect. Today's episode is brought to you by Mint Mobile. At Mint, their favorite word is no contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees. Ditch overpriced wireless and their jaw-dropping monthly bills, unexpected overages, and hidden fees. Plans start at $15 a month at Mint. Make the switch at mintmobile.com/COHN. That's mintmobile.com/Cone. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for the first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan, taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, Tom. They're trying to replace Nick Bosa. They're 4-1. They feel like they might have something here. John Lynch was asked on the radio today, are you calling teams? He said, yes, absolutely. Working the phones, not going to get another Nick Bosa, and you got to find another team who's willing. The Chargers and the Ravens just made a trade for an edge rusher. How hard is it to actually pull off a trade in the NFL?
Well, the thing about it is, okay, you got to look at the salary cap complication in terms of money, and and the Niners probably have enough of a margin to be able to make the deal. And then you got to find a team which is willing to make the trade. I got a trade they can make right now.
Give me a trade.
Call Las Vegas and say, I'll give you 2 number ones for Max Crosby. He wants to be on a Super Bowl contender. He wants to be on a winner, and that's his goal. And the Raiders are in a position now where they need a total rebuild. They're not a couple of players away. They are multiple players away and several years away. You look at their schedule, they play Tennessee this weekend. They may or may not win that one. And then the next winnable games they have could be Browns in November and the Giants in late December. So they need a dramatic change, and they need a tremendous infusion of talent. And even though the Niners are going to finish higher up in the echelon, your 2 number 1 picks may not be great picks in terms of the top 10 of the draft, but they're going to give you 2 premier players. And I think I would call John Spytek and Tom Brady when you can get them off the plane or traveling around the country for broadcasting to say, here's the deal. We'll give you 2 number 1s.
Yeah, who are you going to get with those number 1 picks who are better than Max Crosby?
This guy's got a great passion to play. He's a quality person, plays with just unbelievable intensity every snap. Doesn't come off the field unless you drag the guy off. And that would be a significant boost for the Niners. I'd make that trade in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, I remember the Niners wanted to trade for Khalil Mack and John Gruden, and the Raiders, well, at least the Niners said that they weren't cooperative. Do you think that the Raiders would trade with the Niners?
Well, one is you're looking AFC and NFC, so I don't have to worry about seeing them once in a blue moon on the field. So it's not like I'm playing them twice a year. I trade them out of the division. I trade them to the NFC. Hey, and Max would agree to it. He wants to win. He wants the Super Bowl ring.
All right, he's lived in the Bay Area previously. He played for the Oakland Raiders. It
Correct.
Seems to me that if they trade for Max Crosby, and I agree with you, they should trade for Max Crosby because Nick Bosa isn't coming back anytime soon. If they trade for Crosby, they probably can't afford him and Bosa. So you could trade Bosa in a year and get back 1 or both of those first-round picks.
Well, let's be honest. What value is Bosa going to have for trading at his age when he comes back off of another ACL repair?
Maybe, I don't know. What do you think?
You'd be lucky to get a 4th or 5th rounder in an if deal or whatever, maybe, but you're not going to get a high pick for the guy. He's going to be, 32 years old?
No. That's his brother. Let's see. How old is Nick Bosa? He is 27. He's torn his ACL 3 times. He's going to be 28 in October, so he'll be 28 in 2 weeks. But so when he comes back, he'll be roughly 29 off his 3rd ACL tear. I think if he played a few games and looked like himself, you might get a first-round pick for him, maybe.
Boy, you're generous. I tell you.
I could get a first-round pick for him if I was working the phones. I don't know what John Lynch could do.
Well, I tell you, in the meantime, if the Niners want to get to the playoffs and they want to have a legitimate chance to win, they need an edge rusher.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it depends on how aggressive do they want to be this year. And my question to you is, do you think this is a team worth, like, before I ask the question, yesterday, Kyle Shanahan was asked, do you kind of look at this team similar to the one in 2019 when you traded for Emmanuel Sanders at the deadline? And he was like, no, that team had a Super Bowl defense. We just needed a wide receiver who was a veteran. His team is completely different. It seems like he's surprised he's 4-1 and isn't necessarily sold that he should make a big splash. Do you think that the Niners should take advantage of this opportunity?
I think they have to make the trade. First of all, you look at the league. Philadelphia didn't look too good this past weekend. They've been struggling throwing the ball. Hurts a couple weeks ago, his average per completion was like 6.4 yards. Anemic passing game. You go back and look at the run game. Saquon Barkley is not anywhere near as productive this season as he was last year. He's averaging maybe 3.3 yards a carry. They're becoming a one-trick pony on offense. They need to, their passing game is still out there. You look at other ball clubs who you think have got a chance, Detroit and others. The Niners, I think, if you get an edge rusher, that's going to make their secondary better. It'll make 3 and outs a more likely opportunity for them on defense. They'll have great pass rushers. That will improve the quality of play of other players around them because of the presence of Crosby, Max out there on the field for them.
Yeah, and the Raiders are an interesting team to do business with because they're not going to turn their season around. That's a disaster over there.
And they're multiple players away on both sides of the ball of even trying to get to 500, let alone be a contender for the playoffs.
Real quick before we move on, talk about Mac Jones. Chip Kelly's the offensive coordinator on the Raiders. He was the Niners head coach for 1 year. Niner fans remember him. What do you think of the job he's doing so far? And I know you want to be generous.
Well, yeah, Pete Carroll came out and mentioned that he's not happy with the play calling.
I saw that.
And so, Pete's thinking like, okay, wait, we're what, 1-4?
Yeah.
And we're playing the Titans this weekend. And his main complaint is the running back's not getting enough carries. And so I think, you're going to see a change in the play calling emphasis on the run game come Sunday.
Did Chip Kelly take that job thinking he would inherit it from Pete Carroll once he retired? Maybe we don't know. But I don't know what's going on over there.
That was a Tom Brady hire. Tom Brady wanted Chip Kelly. $6 million a year for an offensive coordinator for a 3-year contract. 3 years at $6 million per year.
Tom Brady wanted him? Like, why? That doesn't make any sense.
That's what the rumor is. Brady's calling all the shots.
He should have called us. I could have told him. All right. So more news from John Lynch. Mac Jones, we know he's had like a bit of a knee issue, but he's played through it. He has a brace. He's okay. He also has an oblique injury that I guess he got in the last game and didn't affect him. I mean, I guess it may have. And he's expected to play or be ready to play because I guess we don't know yet about Brock Purdy, although he's not practicing. So what does an oblique injury do for a quarterback?
Well, look at your torso rotation when you go to throw the ball. And, that's an issue. But, they can probably inject them or numb it a little bit so that it won't be as great a factor during the game. And you'll be sore, obviously, after the fact. But, I'm sure they can find a way to get him through the process to be able to play on Sunday.
Have we talked since Mac Jones won that game?
Did you get your game ball from Kyle yet? Did he mail it to you?
No, he started playing Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson Jr. at the same time. I'm like, where did he get that idea, Kyle? Wow.
He owes you a game ball. How about a game check?
What did you think of Kyle's job coaching that game, and what did you think of Mac's job playing that game?
I tell you what, we discussed all of the ideas and concepts that would help win the game, and Kyle employed a lot of them. So, kudos to you, because obviously he's got people watching your broadcast and he's taking you to heart, and but I was pleased that Mac Jones is a quarterback about whom I would not have a concern of playing the guy. I think he's quite competent, quite capable, has enough talent to be able to lead that team to the playoffs and to a Super Bowl if all the other pieces come into play.
He seems much more smarter than Jimmy. I mean, it's kind of similar playing style, but it's like he's deciphering defenses better and protecting the football well. And Jimmy Garoppolo kind of just threw the ball to his first read a lot.
Well, here's the other thing. Remember now, he came from a better football program than Eastern Illinois. Yep. He played a much more competitive college program. He had Nick Saban on his, chirping on him all the time in his earpiece and giving him all kinds of information and everything and coaching him up. And he was a first-round draft pick.
Right.
So, I mean, there was talent.
Thoroughly vetted. Yeah. Thoroughly vetted. And he's doing it without really much of a run game. I do think it's interesting what that 21 Rocket personnel could do, because Christian, even though he's not what he used to be, he's still the focus of defenses when he's on the field. So if you put him in the slot and did an RPO with him like sort of running a swing route, you just hand off to Brian Robinson Jr. He'd probably have some space because defense is so focused on Christian McCaffrey.
Well, the great thing about the 21 Rocket combination is that you got more speed on the field. You got two backs who are greater weapons than have a Juszczyk out there. And then the other thing about it also is, instead of going to 11 personnel with McCaffrey in the backfield, I stay 21 personnel. So now the opponent's defense will probably stay base. So now I begin to have a personnel advantage, because if I go to a double formation and stick McCaffrey in the slot, unless they're going to go to an open free concept where the safety's now going to treat that as the strength of the pass game, so they're going to invert and call all their coverages to McCaffrey's side of the formation, most often than not, you're going to get a linebacker walking out in zone coverage or in man coverage, unless they go to what we call a one adjust coverage scheme, where the secondary treats that as the strength of the passing game, and the strong safety moves down and takes McCaffrey man to man. And as long as, here's the biggest concern though, if I don't have a tight end playing the game, which requires a strong safety to cover me in man coverage, and I can cover my tight end, the opponent can cover him with linebackers, then they can kick the secondary towards McCaffrey and now let linebackers take away Tongas or whomever's playing tight end. When Kittle comes back, now that's going to force the defense to keep a safety on Kittle, and then now you're going to have linebackers covering McCaffrey. But until Kittle comes back, if I'm a secondary and opponent, I may think about, I'm going to bring my safety down to McCaffrey, and linebackers can cover the tight end.
So the absence of Kittle is having a huge impact on the offense, like a domino effect.
Oh, of course, because my coverage now can go to everybody else, because my linebackers on defense can handle Tongas or whomever else they trot out at tight end.
Yeah, Luke Farrell, who's not quite Jake Tongas. Okay, Let's get into the playbook. Let's help Robert Saleh first. The Niners defense against the Bucs offense. This is one of the best offenses in the league. They're down Mike Evans and probably Bucky Irving too, but the rookie Emeka Egbuka, they have another running back in Rashad White, and they have Baker Mayfield, who happens to throw for a lot of touchdowns. And the Niners don't have Nick Bosa or a replacement coming for this game. So what does Saleh got to do here?
The hardest part is, I tell you, Mayfield, he's lighting the place up. Last week, he was like 29 out of 33, and he throws the ball with conviction. In fact, right now, I would look at him as in the hunt for the MVP of the league. Mm-hmm. That's how good a year he's having thus far.
Remember when I was down with you during the offseason, I asked who do you think was going to go to the Super Bowl, and you said don't sleep on Tampa.
Correct. And that's because of the quarterback. And then you know what? Mm-hmm. Evans is not playing. Bucky Irvin's not even playing. And still Mayfield's finding a way to light it up. And see, the hard thing for the Niners is if they only rush 4, zone coverage is not going to be enough to stop Baker Mayfield.
Right.
So how much man can he play with 4-man pressure coming out of the rush and think that his corners can stay with all these receivers who've been lighting it up? I mean, even Otten, the tight end's been catching balls for Tampa. And, I tell you what, they've got the weapons on offense.
So it's one of those like damned if you do, damned if you don't situations for Robert Saleh. You rush 4 and play zone, you're screwed. You rush 5 and play man-to-man coverage. Do you have the DBs to hold up?
Well, the other thing I can do if I don't want to play man, but I've got to be able to attack his protection schemes and all that, I've got to be able to run some fire zone schemes, force the ball to have to come out hot because I've overloaded the Buccaneers protection package. And then the other thing don't worry about is that, hey, Baker gained some significant yards scrambling last week, and he's not a statue back there. He can move around. He's still a threat.
Yeah, that's a big difference between him and Stafford. And Stafford had a pretty good game just from the pocket.
Baker can, he can get outside. He can run the boots, the nakeds, and plus he can scramble. And he's not afraid to pull it down and run. He's a tough kid. Well, he's a young man now, but he's got toughness about him. He's not just a, China doll playing quarterback,
So do you see this being a higher scoring game?
I don't know about it higher scoring. I think that the Niners are going to struggle a little bit more offensively against the Buccaneers defense. But I tell you what, the deep ball could have a dramatic impact for Tampa Bay because I don't think the Niners handle the vertical passing game very well at their cornerback positions, especially Lenoir.
Lenoir's has been okay so far this year. Renardo Green played pretty well against the Rams, but it seems like everyone's figuring out that you can go after this rookie safety, Marquise Siegel. Rams got him a lot of times. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. Malik Mustafa's coming back. I don't know if he's ready to play, but I mean, there was Siegel's breakdowns. There was Upton Stout, the rookie in the slot, who's kind of struggled in coverage. And then there was D. Winters, who frequently was not in the picture when his man, the running back, caught the ball. So I don't know if Robert Saleh needs to make some personnel changes or just make sure that his players are on the same page.
Well, the hardest thing also, though, is if you're always in a never defense and, always playing zone, never playing man, always rushing 4, never rushing 5 or 6, you're going to be in the bullseye of the opponent after a while. I mean, those people on the other side of the field, they got brains, they got coaches working on game plans. They're making adjustments during the game as well. You just can't line up and just play vanilla.
All right. Well, Saleh's got a big task ahead of him. Let's talk Mac and Kyle again. They pulled off one of the more incredible upsets that I've covered against the Rams. They were 8.5-point underdogs on the road. Now they go on the road again across the country and face the best run defense in the league, or one of them, in Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles, excellent, generating pressure. What does Kyle Shanahan need to do? What does Mac Jones need to do this week?
Oh, I tell you, the thing about it is I look at the run game and I look at McCaffrey's second in the league in the number of touches in the running game. He's got 91 carries so far this year. He's only averaging 3.1 yards. He's number 2 in the league in touches. And you know what? His average per carry is 140th in the league. There were 139 other players who are averaging more than 3.1 yards per carry. His longest run is like 15 yards this year. They've been like 75 other rushes in the league that have gained more than 15 yards.
The Niners also lead the league in percentage of runs that are stopped at the line of scrimmage or behind it.
Correct. And Tampa, as you mentioned, has one of the best run defenses. They're averaging, I think, 3.1 yards for the opponent rushing against them. And, so for that, the Niners are going to have to find a way to generate some positive yardage in the run game. And, they haven't run the toss sweeps as much. They haven't run their inside zone scheme with the backside ceiling. they've got some schemes in the run game that they have not employed in the last few weeks that they need to go back to do a little self-scouting and pick a couple runs that can gain them some yardage so they at least can throw some play action passes off of them and move the sticks that way.
It seems like one of their problems has been their interior offensive line's been no good. They got the rookie Connor Colby on the left. He's been struggling. He was supposed to be Ben Barch, but he's hurt again. On the right, Dominic Pooney. He injured his PCL in preseason. I wonder if he's playing hurt. Either way, he's not playing well. So they're not getting any push there. And then no Kittle. Jennings has been out. None of that like elite blocking on the edges either. So they got the two tackles who are playing pretty well, but that's about it.
I know. And the other thing I look at, Brendel does give up a lot of push in the middle also. So he's not exactly a stalwart center. So your interior three linemen, so basically you're relegated to running outside zone or pitch sweeps left or right and a token run up the gut once in a while. The Niners don't run a trap offense. They don't run whams and suckers or anything like that. So, yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on their own offense because of the limited package they have in the run game.
But it seems like the success of the outside zone plays are so heavily dependent on the blocking of the tight end and the wide receivers out there. And right now,
to the strong side, they can run the outside zone to Trent Williams' side if they want.
True.
And hope that Colby can maintain enough leverage and blocking to allow the back to be able to get out on the edge. They can run the pitch sweeps, but then they'd have to block down and tag scheme it with a tackling guard pulling, which they usually run to Trent Williams' side. So it's going to be a struggle for them to run the ball.
All right, well, let's check out pass reps to give Kyle Shanahan a little bit of a visual. This is the Playbook Breakdown segment powered by Pass Reps, where we make you smarter about football every week. You can get pass reps yourself and actually practice calling plays before Sunday for only $1.99 a month. Just go to passreps.com or click the link below. All right, Tom, what are we looking at right here?
Okay, this is a concept that they can use with 11 personnel, or they can even use it with their 21 Rocket personnel. And it gives them a great opportunity in the man-to-man situations as well as in zone. This is a great, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 pass concept, as well as a red zone scheme when you get to about the 12, 13-yard line. And you're running a mesh concept between the two wide receivers where you have the flanker coming in short motion, for example, or lining them up snug. He's going over the top, and the backside X receivers running underneath. So you have a rub concept there. I'm going to stick the tight end in the hash area of the field about 8 to 10 yards deep. And then we're going to run a rail route with the running back out of the backfield in strong location, what we call king location. And I can either scat release him hot, or I can slide the line away and check, release him. But if I get a matchup man-to-man on him, I'm going to just say go and turn them loose and run them on the rail route against the linebacker. And I've got a little rub concept working in there between the Z going in motion across on the drive route. And the linebacker from the inside out is going to have to take the tight end man-to-man, and as well as take the running back man-to-man.
Yeah, Bowles does play a lot of man-to-man coverage, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And so you're looking at a way I've got to attack a linebacker in man-to-man coverage. And if I can even do it, if I do it with the 21 personnel, I have the regular personnel on the field. And if I want to, I can stick McCaffrey in the backfield, or I can put him up in the wings location and run him on the vertical concept. If it's bump and run, he's got a linebacker on him. He's running the vertical concept as a number 2 receiver on the weak side. And if it's single safety high, I can take my shots either on the running back on the rail route, or if nothing else works, I just work the rub combination underneath the mesh scheme.
I like it from this view, right over the top. You can see that mesh work right there. Those guys would just run. They run through each other, but they might run into each other.
Or under, and so you get the over guy forcing the coverage to bubble over the top for your guy running the shallow cross underneath.
Yeah, and you could have Brian Robinson running the rail route. You could have McCaffrey running the fade from the slot.
So yeah, you get man to man, you got a couple of man beaters automatically, and then if they go to some kind of a zone concept, your mesh sits down, and I still got my tight end sitting over the middle. I can just pop them the ball, and so
All right,
you've got
let's look at it
answers
against Three
regardless
Sky.
of the coverage. You've got answers.
Let's look at it against Three Sky. Tight end's wide open.
Yeah. And he'll pop open because your two crossers are going to take care of the linebackers underneath and should open up the hash area where the quarterback can just pump the ball right in the middle.
Yeah. I like this. Every week, Tom puts together a fresh game plan inside pass reps, updated rosters, new opponents, and real plays from the NFL level. Step into the offensive coordinator's role for less than $2 a month. Link is below, or just go to passreps.com. So I think that's a good play. Who would you be looking for the Niners to get the ball to this week? Last week, the man of the hour was Kendrick Bourne.
Correct. The other thing is, I like them getting Tongas the ball. Now, remember also, is Ricky Pearsall going to play, or is he going to be hobbled by the knee?
He's not practicing today. Looking doubtful.
Yeah, and see, so then now you're going to look at, okay, who's going to be is Jennings going to be out again? So then I'm looking at, okay, I'm going to my fourth and fifth wide receiver, who now has to be my starter, opposite of Bourne. And I go back to finding a way to get my ball to the tight end more, which will force coverage to change from the Buccaneers' perspective. That'll now free up a wide receiver one-on-one with a corner, as opposed to being double covered, where they can cheat the safety to one side of the field, to the other, and play a halves concept over the top of man under on a wide receiver. But yeah, you gotta work your tight end in this offense. And Tongas can catch the ball. He's got good hands. He can get open. He should be able to win against a linebacker. You can run him on sail routes. You can run him on crossing routes. Mix up the packages with it. Run stick routes with him, pressure routes. You can come up with a dozen ways to get the guy the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's not necessarily like forcing you to cover him with the safety, and he's not Kittle as a blocker, but it seems like he's a pretty good receiver. I mean, remember how much we liked Ross Dwelly? He seems like sort of in that mold.
Correct. And he's as you mentioned earlier, he can catch the ball.
Yep.
And he'll give you a little bit of after the catch yardage, but until the defense changes its coverage scheme, I would take advantage of his mismatch in my favor offensively. And I would go to him more than just 2 or 3 times and a half. I would come out and say, okay, I'm going to establish him as a weapon and force Bowles to say, okay, I've got to think about how am I going to cover this guy so that they don't give him 8 or 9 targets a game.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I mean, it seems like that's the way to. What I wanted to say is, with how much difficulty the Niners are having scoring in the red zone, all the more reason to get him involved, especially down there. I mean, who else are you going to go to?
Yeah, when's the last time you saw the Niners run the stick nod concept or any kind of a jerk route by the tight end where he can have room to work and revert and come back against linebackers underneath and be open? It seems like, what's wrong with taking some of those Kittle passes and having Tongas run them?
Yeah, well, he scores so many touchdowns, they might have to pay him. You just saw the breakdown. Now go test your own football IQ. Pass reps updates weekly, $1.99 a month. The link's below. Don't just watch the game. Call it at passreps.com. All right, let's do some prize picks before I get you on the record with your predictions. So let's get them on the screen. And let's see if they know who's going to be playing for the Niners yet. Let's see. I love how people are acting like Brock Purdy might play this game. What are we talking about? Okay, Mac Jones. They've accepted that Mac Jones is going to be playing. 248.5 for Mac Jones. He's currently leading the NFL in passing yards per game. It's gone up every game.
So now what do you have him for this week?
248.5. Seems modest.
Well, I will take more because the Niners are going to probably have to throw the ball more than 40 times in this game because the run game will be next to negligible.
Fair. Okay, Baker Mayfield. 238.5 for Baker. Last week he went for 379.
I say more.
It's going to be an exciting game. Let's go rushing yards. Christian McCaffrey 55.5. They're lowering expectations. Last week he went for 57 against the Rams.
I'll say fewer.
Fewer. I agree with that. No hesitation. Rachaad White, 53.5 against the Niners.
I'll say more.
More. I like Rachaad White. Arizona State. Receiving yards. Okay, Christian. Oh, no. Jake Tonjes, 35.5 receiving yards for Jake. He went for 41 against the Rams and 58 against the Jaguars.
I'll say more. I got to get him the ball. Yeah.
I love that. Christian McCaffrey, 48.5. He's currently the third leading receiver in the league, and he's eclipsed this number every game this season, 48.5.
I'll say more.
Okay, those are our picks. I love Tom's. He didn't even think twice. He knows these, and you're probably right. Baker more, Christian more on the receiving, fewer on the rushing yards. That's smart. Tonjes is going to be their secret weapon this week. Mac Jones going to have to pass, and Rachaad White is going to get a lot of opportunities. Love it. I'm going to put 40 down, not just 20, because that's how confident I'm feeling about Tom's picks. Submitting the lineup.
You're the big spender this week, huh?
I don't know why it went off the screen, but download the app yourself. Use promo code COHN. Play $5. Get 50 instantly in lineups when you use my promo code. That's COHN. All right, Tom, it is time. You had a feeling that they would lose to the Jaguars, and they did. No one thought that they would beat the Rams with the B team, and they did. Now the B team's heading to Tampa. What do you think? Niners B team against the Bucs.
I think they're going to fall short this week. Tampa's got too many weapons. They're on a roll. They're 4-1. I think they are beginning to realize, you know what? Even without Evans, without Bucky Irving, we have a legitimate contender, especially offensively. And and they've got a good run defense.
They do. Do you see this being a close game? Like all the Niners games have come down to the end so far.
You know, I'm sorry to think of this, but the Niners may have to throw the ball more than 40 times to win the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to get some drop passes. You're going to get some tip balls. You're going to get some pressures. Tampa Bay's not a big sack team, but Bowles is not afraid to blitz because he's got confidence in his coverage skills. And I look at this as a 27-20 ball game, Tampa Bay.
Fair enough. Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Niners can pull off another upset. They are definitely 2.5-point underdogs. Cold Essence says Kyle used Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman at the same time in Atlanta, and there was balance. Both ran the ball and both caught passes. So why does he run CMC like a bruiser?
Oh, he just has so much confidence. You know, the thing about it is, right now, if you look at McCaffrey's stats, in 5 ball games, he's had 143 targets and carries as a receiver and as a running back. He's number 2 in the league in running the touches with the ball. Yardage is 140th in the average per carry in the league. Receiving, he's number 3 in targets in the NFL. He's got like 52 or 53 targets in 5 ball games. But like he's 86th in average yards per catch. So the number of touches that he's getting and the return on the investment of getting him the ball right now is not equalizing the merit to give him that many touches and that many targets. Kyle's going to keep going to him because that's the way Kyle's programmed. But it bodes well for them to get other guys involved in the game. And they can take their shots for big plays when they think the matchups are there, but they've got to find another way to get the ball to another receiver or a tight end to get them 6 or 7 yards of throw to get them into second and medium and third and short situations, and feature another player like a Tongas to get him the ball and create him as a weapon so that there's somebody besides McCaffrey who's getting 55% of the targets and touches in the offense.
It seems like McCaffrey at this stage in his career, you don't want to run the entire offense through him. But he could be like an effective decoy. Like, the defense is focused on him. So if you use him to get other people open to create openings for other players, it just might work. I mean, how would you use McCaffrey at this stage of his career if you were calling plays?
Well, the hardest part is, okay, what runs can I run where I think he's got a chance? Rather than running, the outside zone, the inside zone in some weak leads, I might try to use him on a draw concept or on a trap concept once in a while and have a pass set by the offensive line and then hand the ball on a delay to McCaffrey where he has a better chance to see daylight rather than just having a dead sprint spot behind the hip or the butt of an offensive lineman who most likely is getting pushed back in McCaffrey's face. So that's number one. I would pull out some draws. I would come with some more screens, and I would tie in a wide receiver or a tight end with the screen game. So if they lock on McCaffrey and they man him up, I can throw the ball to the receiver 8 to 10 yards down the field against man coverage rather than throwing it where the linebacker is already hugging up McCaffrey on the flare on the screen release. And then I would use them. I would use them in motion more than I would just line them up in a static position, make the defense adjust on the fly rather than line up in a static set and let the defense make their calls and have them locked in on what they're going to play.
I love that idea. Instead of having Christian static in the backfield with like use check running in motion, get use check off the field, put Brian Robinson in the backfield, and have Christian moving around because defenses will freak out and it'll open up opportunities for Robinson and others. I love that.
Well, the other thing that's key about it, Grant, if I use the motion and all that, I'm now forcing the defense to check their coverage or check their front and not play the base that Todd Bowles signaled in the first place. I'm making them go to defense number 2 rather than play defense number 1. So I'm not going to let them play what they wanted to play. I'm going to make them have to adjust to a second coverage call or a second front call, not play the one they wanted to play.
You know, when the last few years, the Niners always had Debo who could go run around before the play and cause anxiety for not just anxiety, but force the other team to check their coverages and fronts, like you just mentioned. They don't have that element anymore. And maybe now that Christian seems to be a better receiver than a runner, he could be that guy if they could evolve a little bit.
Exactly. I can use him to dictate that the defense has to make its adjustment. If they don't adjust, then I'm going to have him like on a choice route or an option route be wide open. If they start kicking the secondary to him with his movement, weak side, for example, then now that opens up somebody on the strong side of the formation.
Tonjes.
If the secondary is going left, I'm going to throw it right. When the secondary goes right, I'm going left. So I'm going to be attacking linebackers and underneath coverage rather than attacking the teeth of the secondary for the Buccaneers.
Love that. Michael Mock says trade Purdy for Max Crosby. Win-win.
Yeah, I don't think that'd fly in Vegas. No.
If the Niners, let's say Mac Jones never loses again. No, let's just say Mac Jones takes the job from Purdy the way Purdy took it from Jimmy. Could the Niners trade Purdy? Would anyone want him in that contract?
I can't see it because the thing about it is, if you look at his quarterback skill set, would you be enamored with his arm? Or would you always be lacking and wishing that it was more than what it is?
The second one.
Yeah. And so that's right off the bat. Then you look at the injury factor and you start to think about, is this guy going to be able to play 17 games a year? And right now, his history is not on track to play 17 games a year. And so, he's an overpaid starter who the Niners basically made a panic buy. I mean,
yeah, it reminds me a little bit of when the Broncos gave all that money to Russell Wilson. He's much older, but they regretted that so quickly and ended up having to just cut him.
Well, they managed to find a way to get him out of the program and bring in somebody else. Yeah. The bottom line is, I think the Niners contract is structured so that after one more season, they can probably jettison Purdy and not suffer irreparable damage with the salary cap and all that. So that is in the back of their minds right now. Trust me.
And the way their offensive line is constructed and the frequency with which they get quarterbacks injured, they're going to need at least 2 for a while. So Brock, Mac, get to know each other.
The bottom line is if the Niners were to trade 2 number 1s to get Max from the Raiders in Vegas, then that eliminates them being able to draft an offensive tackle in the first round this next draft in 2026. And that is a tremendous need for the Niners. They got to draft a tackle. I'm sorry, they may think not, but they need to invest in an offensive tackle coming in this coming draft.
Yeah, so if they ultimately don't trade for Max Crosby or any defensive end, maybe it's because they've put off drafting an offensive tackle for so many years. They absolutely have to take one next year and can't afford to trade a first-round pick.
Or if they trade for Max and they go to the playoffs, then they can use their free agency money, boatload it up, and go out and get a tackle.
Or they can trade Nick Bosa for one. I still think that's a possibility.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, certainly. All right, it's time for me to go down and see which 49ers are actually practicing today. Tom, this was wonderful. I still maintain that the Niners are 4-1 primarily because of you. So let's keep it going.
I'm waiting for you to get the game ball, though. When Kyle sends you the game ball, you can put it on the screen and have it sitting right there next to you.
I'll ask him today, where is it, man? Come on. You thought of that 21 rocket all on your own? Where did that come from? I haven't seen that from you in years. Tom, thanks so much.
Have a good day, Grant.